Hi, I'm Dr. Kirsten Ellis from the Global Communities Diversity and Inclusion Committee, and we were running a mentoring program this year and we just couldn't fit everyone in. So what we've done is we've put this video together with advice for everyone.
Hello, CHI newcomer. I'm so excited you'll be joining us this year for CHI 2021. My name is Rena Webby, and I'm a recent graduate of the PhD Computer Science program at University of Waterloo, Canada.
Hi, my name's Aaron Quigley, and I've been to CHI 15 times over the years. I'm currently the head of school in computer science and engineering in the University of New South Wales in Sydney in Australia. I also am one of your general chairs for 2021. So I'm looking forward to meeting lots of you because there are thousands of delegates who are on their way to CHI 2021.
Hi, I'm Harshini Senaratna, a PhD candidate at Monash University, Australia.
My name is Stephen Lindsey. I'm a lecturer in future interaction technologies at Swansea University.
Hi, I'm Swami Anantanarayan. I'm a lecturer at the Human-Centered Computing Group at Monash University.
So what was your first experience at CHI?
My first CHI was in 2013, Paris, France. I was a first-year master's student, and I remember being very nervous about traveling internationally to a conference. I had never been to an international conference before, and neither had my friends or family. I had no idea what to expect, and I definitely overpacked.
The first CHI that I attended was CHI Atlanta, I think. I can't remember the year off the top of my head, but I know it was the year the Icelandic volcano exploded because I got stuck there.
I first attended CHI in 2019 to present a late break-in work and a poster at a mental health-related workshop, and it is my only CHI conference so far.
My first experience was, I think, in 2013. It was CHI in Paris at that year. It was a very nice venue. It was in the city center. It was really, it was very large. And I think it was also the biggest CHI of that particular year. So that was my first CHI experience.
What's the best thing about CHI?
That the best part of CHI is you're surrounded by a community of people who spend as much time thinking about research as, well, you do. We all have similar questions and curiosities. It was really easy to find people to talk to and things to talk about.
What I find interesting about CHI is its interest in multidisciplinary research, and therefore the diverse people who attend and contribute into it. CHI brings a large number of research experts into one place, representing multiple areas such as engineering, computing, social science, artificial intelligence, digital health, and several other domains. Therefore, I recognize that engagement is really important to experience the benefits of CHI.
I think the part of CHI that's really nice is the breadth of work that comes to CHI. I mean, even as a HCI researcher in a particular field like inclusive technologies, it's really nice to be able to see the different groups and the different domains just within HCI. I think you don't really get that kind of a breadth in a lot of conferences because the conferences tend to be very specific for a particular group or a particular problem. And so I think for CHI, it's just really nice to see what the whole world is to some extent working on in the HCI domain.
The best thing about CHI is the people. That is the thing that I always think about when I remember back to attending a CHI. I remember meeting people. I remember meeting that a new first-time attendee who I've never met before, and now they're somebody who's gone on to change the world. I remember meeting people who are at the sort of the apex of their career and are just changing the world and working in industry or working in academia and are just very inspirational individuals. I just remember meeting people who are just really passionate and caring about what they're doing and what they really want to do in HCI, and they can see the potential of it to change the world. So I think, yeah, if there's one thing that I would say that is the most memorable and most special thing about CHI, is the people, because they bring their best work, they bring their best ideas, they bring the best of them to actually try to connect with others. And this year, that's our kind of theme for 2021, is, you know, combining strengths, but also to make waves, because I think that's another good thing about the people who come to CHI. They're challenging the status quo. They're not just sitting back and letting others dictate what the field should be. They're saying this is ever evolving. The nature of computing is changing. The intersection between computing and humans is changing, and what human-computer interaction actually is in the world is changing. And it's all about people. And it's actually convincing other people often that that is the hardest thing, hardest challenge that we actually face to unlock the potential of computing. So to me, it's the people. And this year, we just passed a very special moment. And there's now enough people who are coming to actually make the potential for there to be 10 million unique interactions at CHI this year. We've just ticked over that number. So there's 10 million potential connections that can actually be made at this year's CHI. And by the time we actually meet at CHI, I'm expecting that number to be even higher. So it's the people. The people are what matter, because they bring the best of themselves, they bring their best content, they bring their best ideas, and they want to come together to combine the strengths for the community.
So I think the best thing is that you get the opportunity to catch up with an enormous number of people if you've been in the field for a while. You start to see all of your colleagues, friends, old PhD buddies, and find out what they've been doing for the last few years since you've caught up with them last. And you get to, yeah, I guess that's building a network, but I wouldn't usually refer to it as that.
So what advice have you got for someone going to CHI for the first time?
Despite the excitement, I was also very quickly overwhelmed. I wanted to see every paper presentation, but they were all at the same time. I tried to jump between sessions to see a paper here or a demo there. And so it makes sense that my first piece of advice is look at the schedule in advance. Pick out what you'd be interested in seeing, and also a few backup options if your first choice is full. Remember, you can always read the papers and watch the videos on the ACM Digital Library after. My second piece of advice is take breaks. It can be a lot of information, and it can be very overwhelming the first time. Lastly, if you're lost, just look for a student volunteer. Bonus, wear comfortable shoes or your favorite business casual clothes. Luckily, CHI 2021 is virtual, so you won't overpack like I did. Finally, enjoy. CHI is an inspiring experience for me. I always go back to work with new ideas and new friends. So, see you at CHI 2021.
I think when attending CHI, I think it's to be patient, to go a little bit slowly. It can be quite overwhelming to attend CHI because there's so many things to see and there's so many different ideas to explore. But you don't necessarily need to, explore all the venues. You can just pick and choose and to focus and to take your time. And I think in the beginning, it can be quite overwhelming. So it's just good to be patient, I think.
I particularly found that attending to a workshop relevant to my area just before the full conference is a good warm-up exercise to start the engagements.
I really remember my first time going to CHI. It was a little sad and a little lonely at the start. So I think the first time you come to CHI, you need to find a friend. You need to find one other person to be connected with if you've never been before. So if you're coming to CHI for the first time and you know lots of people, you're fine. You have lots of people to connect with already. But if you're coming to CHI for the very first time and you don't really know anybody, make sure you actually reach out and find somebody early on. And there's lots of ways of doing that. So we have mentoring circles this year that our wonderful GDI chairs are working on. So definitely sign up for one of those. And there's lots and lots of workshops that are actually happening before the conference. And those are really nice ways. I cannot overemphasize how important the workshops and symposia at CHI are for meeting a smaller, more manageable group of people to actually connect with and network with and get to know. Because then if we were in the physical world, those 30 or 40 people that you just attended a workshop with, you'll see for the rest of the week at CHI. So when we're in the physical space, actually meeting together to know those faces, to get to know each other, to be able to say hi at the coffee stand, to be able to say hi as you're walking into a session, as somebody else to kind of say, oh, hey, come look at this demo. Hey, come look at this work in progress. Hey, I'm going to this course, you should come along. That's really important. In the virtual world, going to one of those workshops is equally important. So if you haven't signed up for one, I'd encourage you to do that. Equally, I would say, if you're a first-time attendee, definitely come along to the keynotes. Sometimes people think, oh, I can just go on YouTube and I can just watch the keynote speaker. It's not the same. Okay, you want to come to the keynotes, to listen to the keynotes, to be inspired by the keynotes, but also to be present at the keynote while other people are present at the keynote. So then you see what other people are saying. You see what other people are saying, let's say on social media. You're seeing what other people are saying on other channels that you're actually connected with. And then you can see, oh, that person had the same question I had. And you can reach out to that person. So the key thing is, if you're coming to CHI for the first time and you know nobody, before the conference, as early as possible, reach out, because I didn't do this. And I went to CHI for the very first time. And I walked in the door and thousands of people all knew each other, people high-fiving each other, people, hey, the superstar over here. And oh, everybody knew each other. And there I am all by myself. Nobody knows me. I don't know anybody. But then after a few hours, I met one person. And once you know one person, you're not alone. And that's the point at CHI. Like, you're never going to be alone once you get to know one person, but you have to reach out sometimes and find that person. And that can be tricky. We're going to try to put in mechanisms, obviously, to try and help you find people, but you also have to put in maybe some energy as well to try and reach out and find somebody. Once you know one person, they'll give you advice. They're like, hey, I'm going over here. And you're like, why are you going there? They're like, oh, wow, you definitely want to go over here because this is really cool. Because you go to CHI and there's all these things that you see in the program, like special interest groups, like, I'm not interested in what other people think are special. You're like, you should be. Panels, why would I want to go to those? You want to go to those. Wow, these people late breaking results, but I only want to go to the full papers. You don't want to see the future. You don't want to see what people are cooking in the kitchen before it actually gets made, before it actually gets accepted, which could be years from now before the work is done. Wow. You're missing an opportunity. There's so much going on at CHI across the spectrum of innovation, across the spectrum of ideation, and the spectrum of, contribution to knowledge. There's so many pieces of the pie that you can actually go and enjoy at CHI. But you need somebody else maybe to kind of point you in the direction to say, hey, try this piece, try this, try this. Don't just go to what you think is the single piece of the pie that's for you. The whole thing is for you. It's all for you. But you need at least one other person to be connected with. And once you know one other person, then you should also reach out and connect to other people. And then you grow your network, you get to know more people, people ask you questions, you can remember who they are, they remember who you are, and slowly you grow your network and you grow your network.
At your first CHI or at any CHI, do not just sit back and listen to a presentation or a talk. You can gain a lot of new insights as well as have fun at CHI through engagement. Make new connections by chatting with strangers at coffee breaks, following up with authors, or by teaming up with others to interact with demos of novel technologies.
I guess the other really good thing about CHI, the thing that sort of isn't easily replaced by just reading a paper, is going to things like the panel events and the discussions and forums that are held at CHI each year. Those are more valuable than paper presentations, I would say, because you can't replicate that experience anywhere else.
The discussions you make might provide you with new perspectives to your research, or even opportunities to start new collaborations.
So, what would you advise against for the people who are going to CHI for the first time?
Things you should avoid doing are probably, so don't expect to just be able to meet everybody that you want to meet and talk to at CHI. If you've got one of your research heroes at CHI that you really want to get along and chat to, you should definitely try to get along and chat to them, but you might not be able to catch them. People are busy, they're running around between different appointments. Some people are constantly mobbed by people who want to talk to them at CHI. So don't always think that you're going to be able to chat to every single person on that list of people you'd love to meet. And at the same time, also don't ignore people who want to chat to you. Like, when you find people that are interested in your field, make sure that you make the time to chat to them if this is your first CHI, even if you can't spot the direct link to your work in the future.
don't lose respect for other people. Keep respecting everybody, no matter how senior or how not so senior you think other people are. Respect everybody. It is incredibly important. I've been to the CHI conference where I've been talking to people and they look beyond me because they're looking for someone more important to talk to. Don't do that. I've been at the CHI conference when I'm talking to somebody and I talk too much, and I know it's one of my failings in life, but the other person I can see is not listening. They're just waiting to talk. Don't do that. I've been at the CHI conference where I've seen people be very disrespectful to one another. Don't do that, okay? So the things you don't want to do are to be disrespectful to other people. Everybody, every single person you meet at CHI is a star. So sometimes people say like, oh no, I'm looking for the real stars. You're like, no, 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 no. Every single person who's there is a star. Because you think about that. There's only maybe 3, 4, 5, 6,000 people who are going to be at this conference out of billions of people on the planet, okay? So for a start, the undergraduate student who's coming to CHI for the first time, they might be the first member of their family to ever go to university. They're a star. They might be somebody who's actually working in an industry who's basically trying to do a startup company, and to their friends and family, they're really brave and they're a star. There might be these people who've actually been there 20 times and who are actually now coming back to bring their students, bring their colleagues, bring their collaborators, and everyone looks up to them and they're a star. Don't just hunt out who you think are the famous people at CHI. Everybody is famous. Everybody is famous in one way or another because they're all doing things that are important to them and other people respect them. And you should respect that. And that's, I think, the important thing, because if you're just looking for all these superstars and rock stars, you miss the point. The point is to actually interconnect with people who are doing really interesting work and asking and answering really difficult questions in the world. And finding those people and connecting with those people now, no matter how bright or how dim their star is the point of a conference like CHI. So don't just be out there hunting for some theoretical, it's not bingo. Like, you don't want to go around and tick out like the people that you want to meet, or certainly don't look beyond people. Don't look over somebody's shoulder looking for somebody more famous. Don't be that person. Be present, be respectful, be engaging, ask good questions, answer questions, wait, listen, learn. Don't just wait to talk, and enjoy the fact that there's like thousands of other people who are as excited as you are to be there. So the one thing I would say is just respect everybody and abide by the ACM codes that we have in place. Like, just be respectful to one another, and remember that everybody is there and everybody is a star. And together, as I said before, together, when you step back from us all, that energy, together, we're really a star.
Is to, I think, since it can be an overwhelming conference, is to not sort of, is to be open, but more is to sort of put yourself out there. And I think the biggest thing is that a lot of times there are a lot of researchers from all over the world, and there's a tendency to not ask questions because you perhaps think, oh, maybe I don't know enough. But the truth is that we're all researchers in this space. We all don't know. We're all trying to figure things out. And it's actually quite nice to get questions. It's quite nice to talk to people. And even though there's a tendency for some to want to sort of say, oh, maybe this is too big, maybe I'm going to ask a stupid question. It's like, well, don't think like that. It's just best to just go and ask. And a lot of times, a lot of people are thinking the same exact thing.
But the question that you bring because of the work that you've done can inspire someone else to change the research that they're doing in the future. A question is as powerful as an answer. Questions often are much more powerful than answers. Every year is a little different. So every year it is like a chemical reaction. You are bringing together different, elements each year. Sometimes there's more of this, sometimes there's less of this, but often it's always people. It's always people. It's always people driven. And it's always people who are coming with their ideas and their research who want to kind of communicate that, either to ask questions of other people or to communicate their own research, and then to learn about what other people are hearing when they're explaining their research. And I think that's the nice thing about CHI. It is a furnace into which everything comes.